Battle lines are about to be drawn as Manchester United visits Fenerbahce. It is a game that indeed will reunite two former Manchester United players, that is Fred and Sofian Amrabat, with their former teammates. But most importantly, for Jose Mourinho, it will be a game of pride. He never wants to lose against his former clubs. Welcome to the United Sport. My name is Webb. In this video, I'm going to focus on what I think Manchester United, or rather Eric Ten Hag and his team, should do if they are going to salvage anything sensible against Jose Mourinho, that is at home to Fenerbahce. Again, like, share, and subscribe. It's a new look where we are now. Of course, I moved places. I'm always on the move, guys. But everywhere I go, I've made it a habit to always bring you a Manchester United update. Don't you love it? If you love the club, you certainly love it. But I love you too for a farm. So let's get into it. So I want to focus on what I think Eric Ten Hag has got to do if he's going to get anything. First of all, do remember that Bruno Fernandes, after getting two yellow cards, he's suspended for this game, for this particular game. He's missing only this one. So he's on a red card. So he won't be available for selection. Good riddance, if you ask me. And not because I don't like Bruno, but because I've said it time and time again. Bruno has needed rest, like for so many games. We've been feeling like he needed to have rested long time ago. So this is going to be a forced rest for him. And of course, it creates a void because there is no Kobe Mainu. Question then, no Mason Mount. Question then, that begs then the question that then who comes in now to step in the in the big footsteps of the captain, Bruno. Of course, in terms of the captain, Casemiro is there. We know we've got quite a number of leaders. I feel I want to see Mathis De Ligt don that captain's armband. For some, it might be early days to give it to him, but when Bruno is not there, I think he's one of those present leaders we see in the team already. But my focus is going to be mostly on that midfield. So what can Eric Ten Hag do? Because this is what you're supposed to expect. First of all, Fenerbahce is not really performing excitingly well. They have won 5 games in their Turkish league. They are lying fifth on the pile. They have lost once, drawn twice. 8 games have been played. They do not they have not really got off to the most flying of starts, with of course Galatasaray and Victor Osimhen doing things, that perhaps not so many expected them to do with such ease. It's always going to be, I think, difficult for Jose Mourinho to easily apply himself. But the thing is, coming into this game, it won't even matter how poor or good their form is in the league. I think for Jose Mourinho, this is a game of revenge. We do know that he left unfinished business, I would say, at Manchester United. You don't think where you are that Jose Mourinho really was done with Man United. His departure from Man United was not one that left him exactly contented in what he had done, because perhaps certain things, of course, things were not okay. He revealed this in interviews. So there is definitely a vendetta he has got and a point to prove. He wants to keep the respect of that he won by winning Manchester United the Europa League. So there is a lot for him to settle. So expect a very cagey affair. I expect Sofian Amrabat and Fred to be packed in the middle like boxes, boxes of mineral water. They'll be packed in the middle. They'll be stacked in the middle like boxes of mineral water. So it's going to be very difficult for Man United to penetrate. I also don't think Eric Ten Hag will go at Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce wanting to penetrate them so much. First of all, United has not been so good at penetrating lately. That is one. So they don't expect to be certain all of a sudden become so good at it playing against the Jose Mourinho team. So that's why I expect a cagey affair in that game. I think it's going to be quite cagey. But let's get proper into the lineups and what I think, or rather into the Manchester United lineup. I won't dwell honestly on the Fenerbahce lineup. I will dwell more on the Man United. So in goal, of course, that's got to be Andronana. But the back line, my feeling is Eric Ten Hag needs to give the back line we saw in our last game some time. I think the team ended well. So if it's working, don't fix it. So my feeling is let's see the same backline. Unless Johnny Evans is not fit, he's not okay, because of course with his age, he will play one game and you can't be sure he will be available for the next. But if he is available and fit, and he will give us these details tomorrow in the pre-match press conference, my feeling is the backline should stay. Lisandro Martinez on the left. Let's have the central defense of Delete and Evans. If Evans is not okay, certainly it's a given. Victor Lindelof then will have to come in. But if Evans is okay, let him start the game with Delete. Delete is on fire. There is no questions about that. He is perhaps our first player on the team sheet, unless his head injury later aggravated after the game against Brentford. But if that's not so, because head injuries are not always that bad, I think Delete should be starting. On the right, let's first maintain Diogo Dalot, because whatever procedure Mazraoui had, he did not get any minutes in our last game. I don't see him coming and being thrown in the deep end in a continental game, in a Europa League game against a solid Jose Mourinho team in Fenerbahce. So we would rather keep Diogo Dalot there on the right. He looked a little bit comfortable, I felt, as we grow into that game. In the middle is where, for me, the science then should come in. If there is no Bruno, what then is Erik Ten Hag going to do? Is it directly replacing Bruno with Joshua Zirkzee? I would love to see Zirkzee play with Højlund, but in this particular game, I feel it might be a little too much for Zirkzee. I would rather want to see Eriksen, and I know people have written off Eriksen already, but I would want to see Eriksen play the number 10. I would want to look at Eriksen in the number 10 and put two solid blocking midfielders behind him. That's Ugarte and Casemiro. So for me, my 4-2-3-1 would have Ugarte and Casemiro blocking, because I saw the few minutes we saw the two of them play together, they seem to have to communicate well. There was a certain bit of maturity exhibited by both of them that you'd love to see. And I think Ugarte now is almost, uh, almost fit enough to be starting the game. So Ugarte, Casemiro, then Eriksen in 10, then, of course, the rest we maintain. Rashford becoming creative, enjoying his football. You don't stop it. He's in his element now. He's picking up the rhythm. He's improved. You want to keep him there. Garnacho the same thing, and Højlund up top, so that we try to see how the three of them keep jailing consistently, because they have been looking like they're building a partnership. The beauty is Rasmus Højlund, our star guy up front, is oozing confidence lately when it comes to the Champions League, because of how good a start he had. I feel that is important, and it will play a lot in our advantage, because he's going to come into this game with that confidence that despite our poor performance in the Champions League last season, I think he feels more comfortable now. He will come into this one feeling more comfortable, because it's also Europe. It may not be the Champions League, but we are still it's all Europe. It's also Europe. So my feeling is that there is that advantage of the confidence that he has, and I think we can we can bank on that to expect something good from him. I mean, if you are scoring goals for fun in your first season at Man United in the Champions League, why not score them for fun in the Europa League when you had such a good game, the previous one against Brentford? I think he's beginning to be in the mood, and his rhythm and the flow, and strikers are all about that confidence being there. So that's what I feel like. So I think it's going to be one of those games, KG, like I said, but not goalless. KG, but not goalless. I think eventually it's one we can get something. We can get something. I honestly, and I had to predict a draw when my team is playing, but a draw wouldn't shock me. I don't think it would be such a bad result either, because I mean, Jose Mourinho at home is never easy. So that's my feeling. But what I can say is we won't lose. Of course, the pressure is still there. Whereas Erik Ten Hag had a good game in the previous one, the pressure for him to deliver is still there, because he fails to win or get a point in the next two games. trust you me, again, he will be under serious scrutiny. So it's not all done at all. It's not done at all. So this is indeed a pressure game, but I think there is something for us to bank on. There is confidence for us to have because we had a good finish to our previous Premier League game. That's for me, my take on this game. I just want to show you my preferred starting 11 one more time, and you can drop down a comment and let me know what you think about it. Because without Bruno, of course, the captain's armband will certainly, I think, be given to Casemiro. Obviously, I expect him to start. There's no doubt about that. But we know that we now have enough leaders in the team because leaders will be needed. Now, the battles in the middle will be interesting because you know that we are facing a team that has Fred and Amrabat in the middle. These two players obviously did not leave ceremoniously. I don't think Fred, in his mind, ever expected to leave before Scott McTominay did. And there are quite a number of people that I know who feel like Manchester United was wrong to let go of Fred. I also know quite a number of people who felt like Sofian Amrabat should have been, bought on a permanent to join Manchester United. So they also know this. They've heard this probably. They probably felt the same way. They probably felt like they could have done Manchester United. So for them, the psyche is obviously there. So it's going to be quite a personal vendetta, but on many fronts. In terms of the touchline, Eric Ten Hag wanting to have one good one over Jose Mourinho. Mourinho trying to avoid that. Then the players themselves, the midfield battles, because that's where it will all be won. I'm telling you, I think we are destined to have such a beautiful game of football. Cagey, not goalless and not boring. Can be cagey but interesting. Expect a game of chess in this one. So there you go. Onana in goal, Dalot on the right, Delete, Evans and Licha. Don't touch that back line. If it's working, don't fix it. In the middle, Ugarte blocking with Casemiro, Eriksen in 10, Hoyland up top, Garnacho and Ahmad. That's my prediction, my preferred starting 11 for that one. But of course, we'll listen